Hello everyone, and welcome back to Radial Development number 3. We have our part drawn. Sorry, let me get rid of this. We have our part drawn over here that we've projected over, and at this point we should have done our polar arrays with 24. Then we exploded it and cleaned up our half projection. Then we made our yellow lines up. And so the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to bring all of our projection pieces over just like this. So that way when we put our rings on, we'll be able to come to the outside dimension and go from there. So I hid these bottom ones so that I can walk through this with you folks. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to go to a polyline. The other ones were green. Let's go to a green. And in this case, I want to make sure that my snap is on, not my snap to grid, but my snap to reference points is on, so that I can come across here and do, oh, sorry, I wasn't on that yet. So polyline green, and we're going to snap to there, and we want to make sure that we come straight across. See how every once in a while it'll snap to the actual difference points, and so this is where we need to make sure 2D reference points. Okay, I want to show that. Let's take this, we're going to delete it, we're going to do a polyline from here straight across, and if I bring it out past it, then it usually doesn't give me too much of a fit. Now earlier I talked about you can just copy this and move it along. So let me show you a little thing that I like to do to save me some time. I do a copy here. It's going to ask from which base point. Right click. I can pick the base point and go there, and then basically this saves me a tremendous amount of time. But what this also helps me do is it also tells me, it helps me visualize. As you can see, now you're starting to see that pattern of how it's circular, right? If you look at these outside edges, you can tell that. So at this point, I could come back in, I would trim, and I would make sure that I'd hit this point. I just select everything, right click, select objects. Usually I do this before all of my side projections are done, so I don't have to spend as much time doing this. So for example, this piece is there usually when I just trimmed it up. Everything else would be trimmed up too. Okay. So, real quick. That doesn't intersect. And so forth. Okay. So let me just escape. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and instead of doing each individual one, I'm just going to delete the whole line. Okay, and hopefully that'll let you see how we do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn my rings back on, and it's going to bring a lot of things on all at once. And you're going to see it's going to bring these duplicate lines back here as well. But basically, what I would do from this point on is now I want to go and switch to, I think a magenta. So we're going to do a circle by radius. And we're going to come from the apex, and we'll match here. Then we can copy, repeat circle, come back to here, there, repeat circle, and you need to be really close to this line to pick it back up to keep the same radius, and keep working our way up. Okay. All right. Now let me turn the rings back on. Voila. Okay. So I put all that stuff on there so that we could see what we did. Naturally, I did my lines. I did all my circles for my top and my bottom piece both. Okay, and then I went ahead and I put my start line here, which is my long one, and then I did 24 segments, which would include or equal 25 lines, right? Because number one which is our lowest point to the left right here, and number 25 are going to match up and become the exact same line at that point. Okay, so considering we're going center point to center point only, we would do 25. If you want to go, like, you can get in the habit of starting out in your center, and then you always go to the outside of where this ties in, which, because you can tell the outside is the exact same place. Since we're going center to center for our radiuses, we're good. Remember, in order to do this, we need to make sure we do a 2-point circle, and our 2-point circle goes across 2 lines, okay, 2 segments, so that way we're getting our true dimension right through here in the radius, okay. And we're moving from that point on, okay. And then once we're set with that, basically we just do the polylines up and down. This is 25 lines. It takes a lot of time to just watch that, keep going through it, so I left it there. And then we did the exact same thing. After we have our 25 sections, we've got all of our circles laid out on our start point. We've made sure we've got 24 segments, 25 lines. I start with a polyline. I change it to red to create my flat pattern. And I start here on the far left side, and this is low point and low point for this pattern. So I start from there to there. I'm going to draw up, and then naturally every time I go to the right, I go up one, up one, up one, and I keep moving along up one progression each time until I touch the top peak once, and then I start coming down. Follow, follow, follow. And then here's where I hit the bottom point one time, then I come back to my right, and I start going up in the other progression. Okay, up here to the same thing till I hit the top point once, and then I work my way back down. Okay, so after that, then I can copy this, copy my one pattern I made all at once from the base point, and I move it over here to the right, and that's now going to be my copy pattern. So sometimes when you have a small roller like this, you might have to do some different things, right? So for example, we don't have a true conical roller, but we have a nice CNC press brake or even a finger brake. You might have to put these 24 sections in there, or include and copy all these pieces here and trace it to a flat pattern. Print this out on paper instead of just plasming it out, okay? And when we do that, we can also pull a couple measurements to go from here to here, so we know what our first measurement is and create one pattern stencil, and here to here. Because each one of these pieces is going to be a different break. So it's 24 sections on 360 degrees. So if you do the math, 360 divided by 24, you'll end up with what? 15 degrees roughly each one. Without having the calculator in front of me, that's just a quick guesstimate, 16 something. But anyway, you're less than 20 degrees, so you just want to give these a slight break each one as you go across through there. And you'll need to be able to project those lines down here to here so that you could match here and your upper piece in the press brake and work your way around it. Okay, that's it for radial development pattern number 3. I hope everything is good, and we will see you on triangulation number 1. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.